Writing does not come naturally to me, as I'm certain you can imagine.
Imagino que ame poesia. Tá tudo bem?
Let me guess, you're composing a love poem.
I couldn't, not even if my life depended on it.
It's not that hard.
Yes, it is. Poetry takes finesse, it takes grace.
You think you don't have those things?
Historians will one day ask what happened at Adamant Fortress, in the Fade. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. It must be recorded.
Essa é uma boa ideia.
That's an excellent idea, Cassandra.
I certainly thought so, until I started writing. I still don't know what to say about the spirit of the divine. I saw her there, heard her voice, yet I cannot claim with certainty it was really her. The chantry teaches us that the souls of the dead pass through the Fade, so it could have been her. Yet even so...
Você acha que é possível?
You really think it might have been her? A ghost?
A ghost. A remnant of her hopes and memories. Her lingering will to do good. Those things are all possible. Nobody knows for certain what happens after we die. A spirit could have assumed her form, but why? It helped you, as Justinia herself would have.
Eu acredito que era ela.
I believe it was the divine. She helped us one last time.
I hope that's true. I want to believe it. When I realized we were physically in the Fade, I was terrified, almost beyond reason. The last time such a thing happened, we created Darkspawn. We created Corypheus. The world needs to know the truth this time. No more legends lost to the ages.
Olá, rapaziada, como é que vocês estão? Especialmente bem, vamos aí a mais um episódio de Dragon Age Inquisition. E nesse episódio, depois dos acontecimentos com os Guardiões cinzentos, agora a gente vai fazer uma pausa na nossa jornada e nós vamos fazer aquela rodada de relacionamento. Então a gente vai ficar passeando na nossa fortaleza, conversando com todo mundo do círculo interno pra gente pegar missões atreladas a eles, pra gente eventos, para melhorar um pouquinho os nossos relacionamentos, porque teve algumas desaprovações, teve algumas aprovações, então vamos subir isso. A gente precisa ficar amigo de todo mundo. Então, antes de mais nada, vamos ao nosso pequeno top padrão. Pega um meio de petisco, chama os amigos e bora se divertir, mas antes deixa que eu já quer esse coração, se não for inscrito, já aproveita e se inscreve. Bora lá. Quero saber se você tem mais coisas com a gente. Operação disponível enquanto os investigadores perdidos.
I can keep staring at this, but I won't get any closer.
Something I can help you with?
Yes. Possibly.
We
saw so many Red Templars at the assault on Haven. Perhaps all that was left of the Order. What we didn't see was Lord Seeker Lucius. Indeed, I've seen no hint of any Seekers amongst the Red Templars, or anywhere. I have a growing suspicion Corypheus has imprisoned them.
Why imprisoned? He could just as easily have killed them.
Not easily. But yes, they may be dead. But the Seekers began this war against the mages. They cannot have simply vanished. There must be a trail we can follow, yet so far I have only discovered hints.
But they could have ended up just like the Red Templars.
Seekers do not use lyrium. I assume Corypheus gained control of the Templars by corrupting the lyrium they were already taking. To do the same to a Seeker, you'd have to force the lyrium upon him. That may be what happened, but it couldn't have begun that way. We're missing a piece of the puzzle, Inquisitor. I need to find it.
Finding them obviously means a lot to you.
I left the Order, but I can never abandon them. I cannot even claim that rescuing them would be beneficial. They wouldn't look kindly on the Inquisition. But even so, if there's a chance... If we can spare resources to follow up on these leads, Inquisitor, I would appreciate it.
Eu apreciaria que vocês não me jogassem pra... longe pra caramba. Muito obrigado. Eu quero ir conversando com todo mundo até não gastar. Pra conversar com o pessoal antes da gente avançar com a missão principal.
They think she spoke to me.
Even Leliana can't trace the rumor's origin. It may be expedient to respond to those asking for Andraste's words.
Mas eu nunca vi a criatura.
It's not Andraste who saved me.
Few people outside Skyhold know it was Divine Justinia who delivered you from the Fade. You could attempt to tell Valroyo's citizens the truth, though it may not be as inspiring as they hope.
Chamar todos.
Tell these petitioners Andraste said she cares for us always as she walks by the Maker's side.
A fine sentiment. We will have it proclaimed in Valroyo.
Ok, né?
Let's speak later.
Another time.
Não. Agora é pra gente conversar mesmo.
Who rules Antiva?
Officially, the Principality of Antiva is governed by His Majesty King Fugelno II.
Saúde.
In reality, Antiva's merchant princes rule the country in everything but name. Quite loudly, I might add.
You and Leliana appear to know each other.
We met... let me think. We met the last few years of my schooling, but we became friends after I became ambassador to Olay. It seems terrifyingly long ago now.
How exactly did you and Leliana reconnect in the Inquisition?
I discovered my family had been overcharging a merchant we traded with for months. Our name carries a great deal of trust in Antiva. I spent weeks arranging a string of favors as suitable recompense. Apparently satisfied, the merchant extended me an invitation to her estate. Leliana greeted me in place of the merchant.
I assume there was more to it than a strange way to say hello.
It was a test of sorts. Leliana claimed she needed someone of painful integrity for the Inquisition. I accepted, once she finally explained what it was.
Let's speak later.
Another time.
Não.
It's good to see you.
What's the land like in Antiva?
The settled areas are quite lush. The vineyards run as far as the eye can see in some places. Antiva City, however, perches right up against the Rialto Bay. That's what I miss most. The sea crashing against the maze of the docks.
I have difficulty seeing you wandering around a trading port.
Everyone in Antiva City spends time by the ships, my lord. The finest restaurants and poets all make their habitation by the sea. The waterfront's never still. Lanterns are lit along the promenade no matter what the weather.
Are you ever homesick?
Occasionally. When a breeze stirs the trees in the garden, I sometimes pretend it's the sound of the surf. Do you know, I even miss those terrible squawking birds infesting the harbor. My youngest sister used to throw whole loaves of bread to the gulls. Silly thing.
Who rules Antiva?
Officially, the Principality of Antiva is governed by His Majesty King Fugelno II. In reality, Antiva's merchant princes rule the country in everything but name. Quite loudly, I might add.
What sort of dealings did you have with these merchant families?
As ambassador, I attended Privy Council meetings in a mediatory capacity. May I just say, one has never heard an argument
Se não
until
me
they've
engano,
sat in
Antiva vai
on
estar no
15
próximo jogo.
princes howling down
Eu
each
vi
other's tariff
os
suggestions.
trailers.
That sounds more like a mob than a meeting.
It's all a part of life in Antiva. Our traditions value passion and romance. A certain exuberance of style.
Are you positive you're Antivan?
I can be most exuberant when it's called for. But just at the right moments. And in a proper fashion. Might we speak of something else?
You and Leliana appear to know each other.
We met... let me think. We met the last few years of my schooling, but we became friends after I became ambassador to Olay. It seems terrifyingly long ago now.
Tell me about the Montiliers.
Well, my parents are alive and in good health. They live in our estate in Antiva City. Of my 4 siblings, most attend to the running of the family vineyards. That reminds me, I must ask someone to make sure Yvette attends the spring reception at the palace. My youngest sister has no head for social engagements.
Why are you overseeing your siblings' social lives?
It's Antivan custom. After a certain age, the heir apparent runs the family's estate to prove they're worthy of succession. If you're unfit for the task, the heads of the house, usually one's parents, may decree a new heir.
What do these Antivan heads of the household do if they don't run it?
They work and provide guidance. I've taken advice from my parents. Well, mostly mother. Father's more of an artist. It's rather gauche, but we never can dissuade him from running his own salons. Between him and my siblings, mother's looking forward to my taking over the estate.
Imagino por quê.
Between that and the Inquisition, when do you ever rest?
Delegation helps a great deal. But managing the estate is my duty. As much work as it is, I will not shirk it.
Is running your family's estate that important to you?
I'm responsible for their welfare. A Montilier never shuns their familial duty. Taxing as those duties can sometimes be.
Maybe your siblings could help lighten your burden.
You don't know them. But Lorien in charge, or Antoine, or Yvette? No,
Melhor não
truly.
arriscar.
It must be me.
Melhor não arriscar.
Where were you raised, Josephine?
I was born in Antiva City, but when I turned 15, Mother declared I'd attend finishing school in Val Royeaux. But I bowled into her skirts the day I had to leave.
You must have missed her terribly.
I did. And she was most unsympathetic to my wailing. But my mother only wanted the best for me. Living in Orlais was an education in itself.
What did you learn at this finishing school in Val Royeaux?
Among other things, mathematics, rhetoric, poetry, history, logic, and a great deal of etiquette. I still remember Madame Beventir switch on my knuckles when I forgot the basic tenets of Nevaran dining customs. For a dowager approaching her 80th year, she had quite the arm.
How did the younger you like Val Royeaux when you arrived?
Se não me engano, você precisa de amizade com 3 do círculo interno. Troféu.
That was Val Royeaux to me. So beautifully foreign. I gaped at its spires for months.
Does Antiva City have nothing that compares to Val Royeaux?
Antiva City is a jewel among the capitals. But I did not appreciate that before I traveled. There are multitudes of places I'd like to see. Saharan, the Anderfels, whatever lies past the Amarantine Ocean.
You and Leliana appear to know each other.
We met we think.
A gente já sabe
We
disso,
met
mas
the last
deve ter
few
algum
years of
diálogo
my
ainda.
schooling, but we became friends after I became ambassador to Olay. It seems terrifyingly long ago now.
É,
Let's speak later.
Farewell.
prontinho. Já foi todos os diálogos com ela já. Opa. Não vai me dizer que tem...
Now this is a hall worthy of the Inquisition.
Caraca. Era um trato nisso, hein? Temos julgamentos.
Adamant's influence continues, your worship. I submit Lord Livius Erimond of Virantium, who remains loyal to Corypheus. We found him alive, offering extreme resistance, likely because the Order will ask for his head. In more colorful terms. To say nothing of justice you might personally require for what was suffered in the Fade.
Many places felt the pain of Adamant. You will answer for a great deal.
I recognize none of this proceeding. You have no authority to judge me.
On the contrary,
Oh,
many
gotcha.
officials have communicated that they will defer to the Inquisitor on this matter.
Because they fear. Not just Corypheus, but Tevinter, rightful ruler of every piece of ground ye trod in your pathetic life. I served a living god. Bring down your blades and free me from the physical. Glory awaits me.
Leve-nos aos Guardiões, ele morre pela minha espada, prenda e joga a chave fora. Depois de muito ponderar, não quero arriscar de levar ele para os Guardiões e fazer alguma merda, nem prender ele.
Lord Erimond, any protection you thought you had has apparently been withdrawn. You will die by my hand.
Petty actions. Truth lies in the next world.
Finíssimo. Tem mais um?
Another of the lingering pains of Adamant, your worship. Sir Ruth is a senior warden of the Order. She was one of the many who slit the throat of another to bind a demon. She does not contest this. In fact, she surrendered to us. She requests no mercy. She wants the public justice of the headman's axe.
You were free to rejoin your comrades, and yet you present yourself here.
There is no excuse for my actions. I murdered another of the Order. That blood marks me more than the Blight ever could.
Accepting their actions while thralls of Corypheus, many treaties allow wardens any extreme if it opposes the Blight.
I can't do it. I can't use the greater good to justify my crimes, as if it would create a future I could be a part of. It is wrong that this broke me. I've done worse with full sanction. I can do nothing except be an example of the cost.
Humilhação pública. Vá para as estradas profundas. Prenda, joga a chave fora. Eu não jogarei uma guardiã. Ou Andraste lhe perdoa. Ai. Andraste lhe perdoa. eu pensar. Vou mandar ela para as estradas profundas.
You feel your life is over? There's a place for such wardens. Sir Ruth, you'll go to the deep roads. Your death may be as quick as you choose.
This sends no message. This is just an end.
Operação disponível, julgamento, a morte da boa Sir Ruth. Será que eu matei ela? Eu espero que não. Sei lá, não sou íntimo dela.
I knew Stroud, you know, not well. He led the Wardens near Kirkwall.
Pô, o jogo foi filho da mãe de
Not
fazer a
many
gente
people
escolher
knew
isso,
who he
né?
was, but the man was a hero when it mattered. He wasn't the first good man to fall to Corypheus. He won't be the last. This story's no good for heroes.
We're taking down Corypheus before he takes any more lives.
You know, sometimes when you say shit like that, I almost start to believe it. Oh, Hawk asked me to tell everyone back in Kirkwall where he's going. I'll have to let Carver know. I'm sure he'll take it well. I'd better write some letters. Excuse me.
Ok.
Is this a bad time? I can come back.
No, it's all right. Bills are really not that engrossing. I've been meaning to come talk to you anyhow. I never officially joined the Inquisition. I don't know how to do this disciplehood thing. I'm a businessman. Never really followed a chosen one before.
I don't need a disciple. I need a friend.
If you knew how intimidating you are, you wouldn't make it sound so simple. You just don't know what you are to the people out there. The Herald of Andraste is a symbol bigger than any of us.
What am I to you, then?
None of this shit makes any sense to me. Is this the end of the world? Did Andraste send you through the breach? I have no idea. You heard the crowd singing after Haven was attacked?
Não cante, por favor.
Whatever I am to Thedas, I'm still just an ordinary person.
So, just a regular person, like anybody else. Right. I should probably get back to work. Unless, you up for a game of Wicked Grace?
Tem mais alguma coisa?
Sorry, I really need to write some letters. Another time, all right?
Tudo bem. Oh. O mosaico já tá pronto. Olha, que lindo.
Hello, Inquisitor. Honored to help with these, whatever they are. Honored, Inquisitor. Gotzi Sturhall. Did my part on the walls. Now I'm on this strange collection you've brought us. Don't know
São
it's
os
worth the
mosaicos.
fight exactly, but it's good workmanship.
Any ideas about the origins of these reliefs?
To Vinter, early. It's in the tool marks, the grain. That's hard dust mined from the 100 Pillars, if I know anything. Oh, I suppose the scene is probably full of Tevinter robes, too.
The 100 Pillars?
Damnedest things. Massive spires that aren't stone. It's like a mortar. Don't know more than that. Strong, though.
Do you have insight into the stories these tiles are supposed to depict?
Here you go, Inquisitor. I wrote up some thoughts. Hope it adds to the effort.
Ok. Uns contos, o arquidemônio e o sacrifício.
Stone met, Inquisitor.
Where did you learn your skills?
Zamar. Carved a few statues in my day. And before you ask, yes, I chose to leave. I carved a paragon who turned out to be a sodding madwoman. Couldn't stand looking at it. The memory of a dwarf, right?
Né? A gente vai juntando esses mosaicos e vai aparecendo aqui. Nessas paredes. Vamos fazer o seguinte. A gente já falou com a Josephine. A gente já falou com o Varric. Já... A Vivienne tá aqui. A gente já pode falar com ela. Ou não, porque antes de... Como fala? Cadê a Vivienne? Ué. Será que ela tá embaixo ou em cima? Ela não tá no mesmo andar, não. Loucura. Ah, ela deve estar em cima. Caraca. Que lindo. Que da hora.
I cannot believe the Grey Wardens could even conceive of such a plan. To seek out these old gods deliberately in some bizarre attempt to preempt the Blight.
Não se esqueça dos demônios.
Calling the army of demons. That's my favorite part.
The demons are nothing. They're a tool.
A tool that would have let Corypheus ride roughshod over most of Orlais.
Even if they hadn't, the entire idea is wrong. The Blight is not something one smugly outsmarts. Forgive me. The entire idea is unnerving.
I need to know more about Corypheus.
We spoke of this on our travels to Skyhall. What more can I tell you? Cassandra and Varric seem more familiar with their adversary.
You've given me good counsel before. I could use some now.
My apologies, Inquisitor. My poor manners shame me. I claim no secret wisdom, but I will guess as best I can.
What can you tell me about the source of Corypheus's power?
According to the law, the ancient Magistars of Tevinter received guidance from the old gods. Corypheus commands a false archdemon, a corrupted old god. This suggests he no longer sees himself as their minion. Some of his unique power comes from the corruption of the Blight. The rest may come from the orb he carries.
What do you think Corypheus will do next?
We've taken his army. He lacks the conventional forces to take Orlais. He must see Orlais destroyed utterly by whatever means possible, not merely thrown into chaos.
I'd like to know more about the orb he carries.
As I said, that must be the means by which he created the breach. I suspect the blast that destroyed the Conclave was more accident than anything. The result of unlocking power that had sought release for ages. What I cannot understand is how he managed to survive such an explosion.
You said that you believe the orb is elven.
I never would have believed a Tevinter mage could unlock such a powerful relic. It clearly enhances his abilities, giving him access to power he should never have known.
Like the power to control the archdemon.
Indirectly, one assumes. Nothing in any law connects my people to the old god dragons who became archdemons.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Até. Só tem isso pra falar com ele. Tem pouca coisa. Acho que tudo que é relacionado de bom com os Guardiões ele não gosta muito, não. Temos... Caraca, quanto corvo. Temos Dorian, temos Fiona... Quem é você mesmo?
A request has been made of you, Inquisitor. Here it is.
What is your evaluation of how we're doing?
I am able to pursue my duties with optimal efficiency, thanks to Skyhold's present state.
As you were.
Tá bom.
Yes, Inquisitor.
Até por cadáver removido. Nossa, a gente só entregou isso. Aí, deixa eu vir aqui pra cima. Ah, teve mais coisas removidas. Caramba, tem muita coisa removida. A gente vai entregar. Oi, caçamba. Tem mais nada aqui não? Nossa, sério que não tem nada aqui. Só pra gente passear mesmo. Acho meio bizarro esses negócios que o pessoal constrói só por decoração e a gente fica passeando aqui. Ah, tá bom, vamos começar de cima pra baixo. Ah, você, criatura. Ah, não quer falar nada comigo, tá bom. Não é seu. Vamos lá, criatura.
Inquisitor, I have been thinking. You remember everything now, yes? The explosion at Haven, the Fade, escaping the breach. In your report, you said Justinia was with you. But only you emerged in the end. Why? Why were you the only survivor?
She knew it was either her or me. And she wanted me to live.
Of course. Of course she did. That's just like her. Her message to me. I failed you too. I'm not sure I understand what that means. Did you say anything else? Anything at all? Please, if you remember.
I'm sorry, Liliana. That was it.
There are no answers in the Fate. Only illusions. A warped mirror. Justinia has never failed me. I was her left hand. Now she's dead. I failed her.
Tadinha. Ué? Onde ela foi?
Your open support for the mages likely earned you enemies. Our agents will monitor the situation. If the most opposed can be identified, we may still turn this to our advantage.
People can hate me if they wish.
That gets us nowhere. The Inquisition is young. We need to build our support. Regardless, I applaud you for the courage to stand up for the mages.
Alguma novidade?
Anything I should know?
It seems that the Elysian army is awaiting our next move. Some of the generals are sympathetic to our cause, others are still suspicious. Our actions are under a great deal of scrutiny.
They called you the left hand of the Divine.
That they did? What of it?
I could use the left hand of the Divine at my side out there.
Every agent out in the world is my eyes, my ears, my blade. Wherever my people are, I am also. Coming with you, leaving my post, would blind and bound me. Do you see?
We'll talk more later.
So
Amanhã, minha
Varric
filha.
knew where the champion was all
Só
along.
mais um pouquinho.
That's the last time we sent Cassandra to interrogate.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You have a history with the Warden who ended the Blight, don't you?
I had the privilege of calling her friend before she died. The world seemed much duller after that. It still does.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Rayo, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... alright. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
Até a próxima. Até a próxima conversa.
The Inquisitor. The Inquisitor.
Essa aí não fala mais nada, ela só trava. Aqui você não tem muito o que fazer. É o quê? Ah, tem coisa aqui. Vivienne tá aqui. Caramba, Fer, você tá dormindo aí?
Please tell me what you remember.
I had visions, echoes of what happened to me the first time. The Divine was there, or something like it.
Manifestations of your own mind, perhaps? Or external memories awakened by your presence? I suppose there's no way to tell. No one else has physically entered the Fade since the Magisters assaulted the Golden City. Oh, I'm positively envious right now.
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
You must have an opinion
Pouca
of the
coisa pra falar
Templars
com
after
ela.
living so long in the Circle.
Having opinions about Templars, my dear, is exactly like having opinions about mages or Navarrans or men. I have known some who were impossible to endure and some who were utterly charming. I have suffered insults at the hands of those in the armor, but no more than I endured from nobles or tradesmen in Val Royal. Personally, I have found the Templars a useful tool, skilled at keeping more unpleasant elements at bay.
Tá, ela não tem muito o que fazer não. Ah, ali também, ó. Tem mais, ó. Aqui tem um que só tem 3. E aqui tem mais um, que falta 3. Que mais? Oh, você tem alguma coisa para acrescentar na vida?
Would I have done the same, I wonder? Forgiveness can be difficult.
Sim.
I hope the Order values what you've done and gives you no reason to regret it.
You're not still the Grand Enchanter, then?
Any claim
Vou
I had
gastar esse
to the
daqui.
title ended along with the Circles of Magi, although some still call me by it. Perhaps the Circles will one day be resurrected. If so, another will take the position. Until that time, I lead my fellow mages by default. I will do what I can for them.
You believe they'll recreate the Circle of Magi after all this?
It depends on who the next divine is, and what she offers. We can't go back to the way things were. But endless warfare benefits no one. That is why I agreed to Justinia's conclave. There must be another solution.
You were once a Grey Warden.
Mine is an unusual circumstance, Inquisitor. Normally one is part of the Order until death. But long ago I found myself stripped of what made me a Warden. They tried to reinitiate me, but nothing worked. Nor could they figure out how it happened. So I was sent to the Circle of Magi, the first warden ever to be kicked out. Quite the achievement.
You sound happy about it.
Becoming a warden seemed like a dream when I was first conscripted. Towards the end, however, my brothers and sisters, they felt I had somehow cheated death. I was glad to leave. It also made me unique in the circle. I had an opportunity to do more than I ever could as a warden.
You mean you began the Mage Rebellion?
Eu não sei porque tem alguns diálogos que ainda estão ativos. A gente já escutou
But I
já.
cannot claim sole responsibility for what followed. Still, despite all the chaos, I would do it again. What happened had to happen.
Aconteceu com a Cassandra da gente ter que ver tudo de novo pra... Duas vezes. E a outra também, Josephine também, 2 vezes.
I heard of your verdict on Alexius, Inquisitor. Servitude is kinder a punishment than I would have given, but I won't complain. He may wish you'd done worse. My fellows have some interesting ideas on exactly what he can do as compensation.
Ó.
I trust everything is well with the mages.
There have been a few scuffles with your Templars, but overall, it is going well.
I'll leave you to it.
You have remarkably little here on early Tevinter history. All these gifts to the Inquisition, and the best they can do is the Malefica Imperio. Trite propaganda. But if you want 20 volumes on whether Divine Galatea took a shit on Sunday, this is evidently the place to find it.
Vamos lá.
That's the Dorian I know, critiquing every book in my library.
I wouldn't have to if you could find some rebellious heretic archivist to join the cause.
Are there rebellious archivists? Other than you, that is.
If Corypheus ever starts burning masterworks of literature, I'm sure a few will pop up. Did I see something by Genitivi here? I could have sworn.
What is this about, Dorian?
What else could it be about? What happened at Adamant, of course. We went into the Fade. Physically went in. Are you... all right?
Stroud is gone.
The Fade is an ordeal under normal circumstances. To be the only real thing there, beyond description. That any of us made it out alive is difficult to believe. You do realize this feat hasn't been performed in over 1,000 years. Corypheus and his contemporaries entered the Fade and began the Blights. In comparison.
Ele estava lá, sério. Sério. Isso. Tá
At
bom.
least you were at my side.
Ah, tá.
No offense, but I'd almost rather I hadn't been.
No sense of adventure? That's surprising.
I've not your talent for survival. And not everyone is as discerning as I. If you can walk in the Fade, others will try to follow. Who knows what secrets Corypheus has revealed? Not all of them will be as lucky as you. What they could unleash. My advice? Keep this quiet. Let them speculate. Too many will see this as a challenge.
You don't number among them?
It's tempting, but I am no fool. There are enough idiots in the world who think if they just use enough blood magic, their problems will vanish. It's exactly the sort of thing I want to stop back home. This I don't need. What I do need is a copy of the Liberalum. I'll wager I can find Corypheus's real name. If I can prove he was a grasping ankle-biter with no family to speak of, the luster would come right off. Wish me luck.
Operação disponível, o nome do nosso inimigo.
I can't believe my father's gall. Of course, he couldn't come here to Skyhold.
Tem que fazer a sua missão também, né?
That would be too much. But contacting some southern cleric on the sly, much wiser. If this is some venatory connivance, I will be utterly disappointed.
I should go.
You know where I'll be.
Tá, vamos ter que fazer a missão dele. Esqueci da missão dele. Depois que a gente conversar com todo mundo, vamos fazer as missões dele. Agora, você tem alguma coisa? Ou você ainda não se acalmou ainda, não?
I'd like to know more about you, Solus.
Why?
You're an apostate, yet you risked your freedom to help the Inquisition.
Not the wisest course of action when framed that way.
I appreciate the work you're doing, Solus. I just wanted to know more about you.
I'm sorry. With so much fear in the air. What would you know of me?
What made you start studying the Fade?
I grew up in a village to the north. There was little to interest a young man, especially one gifted with magic. But as I slept, spirits of the Fade showed me glimpses of wonders I had never imagined. I treasured my dreams. Being awake, out of the Fade, became troublesome.
Did spirits try to tempt you?
No more than a brightly colored fruit is deliberately tempting you to eat it. I learned how to defend myself from more aggressive spirits, and how to interact safely with the rest. I learned how to control my dreams with full consciousness. There was so much I wanted to explore.
I gather you didn't spend your entire life dreaming.
No. Eventually, I was unable to find new areas in the Fade.
Why?
2 reasons. First, the Fade reflects the world around it. Unless I traveled, I would never find anything new. Second, the Fade reflects and is limited by our imaginations. To find interesting areas, one must be interesting.
Is this why you joined the Inquisition?
I joined the Inquisition because we were all in terrible danger. If Corypheus destroyed the world, I would have nowhere to lay my head while dreaming of the Fade.
Ah.
Inquisitor, that is why I joined, not why I stayed.
I wish you luck.
Thank you. In truth, I've enjoyed experiencing more of life to find more of the Fade.
How so?
You train to flick a dagger or an arrow to its target. The grace with which you move is a pleasing side benefit. You have chosen a path whose steps you do not dislike because it leads to a destination you enjoy. As have I.
You said you traveled to many different places.
E aprovou pouco, a gente precisa subir pouquinho, né? Porque ele desaprovou umas 2 coisinhas que eu fico meio puto.
You may see a city lost to history. Some of my fondest memories were found in crumbling cities, long picked dry by treasure seekers. The best of the battlefields. Spirits press so tightly on the veil that you can slip across with but a thought.
Any place in particular?
I dreamt at Ostagar. I witnessed the brutality of the Darkspawn and the valor of the Ferelden warriors. I saw Alistair and the hero Ferelden light the signal fire, and Logain's infamous betrayal of Kaelin's forces.
I've heard the stories. It would be interesting to hear what it was really like.
That's just it. In the Fade, I see reflections created by spirits who react to the emotions of the warriors. One moment, I see heroic wardens lighting the fire, and a power-mad villain sneering as he lets King Kaelin fall. The next, I see an army overwhelmed and a veteran commander refusing to let more soldiers die in a lost cause.
You can't tell which is real.
It is the Fade. They are all real.
Have you always traveled and studied alone?
Not at all. I have built many lasting friendships. Spirits of wisdom, possessed of ancient knowledge, happy to share what they had seen. Spirits of purpose helped me search. Even wisps, curious and playful, would point out treasures I might have missed.
I don't know of any spirits by those names.
They rarely seek this world. When they do, their natures do not often survive exposure to the people they encounter. Wisdom and purpose are too easily twisted to pride and desire.
You're saying that you became friends with Pride and Desire demons?
They were not demons for me.
Meaning?
The Fade reflects the minds of the living. If you expect a spirit of wisdom to be a pride demon, it will adapt. And if your mind is free of corrupting influences, if you understand the nature of the spirit, they can be fast friends.
I'm impressed that you could become friends with spirits.
Anyone who can dream has the potential. Few ever try. My friends comforted me in grief and shared my joy. Yet, because they exist without form, as we understand it, the Chantry declares that spirits are not truly people. Is Cassandra defined by her cheekbones and not her faith? Varric by his chest hair and not his wit?
I hadn't thought about it that way. But I see your point.
Thank you. Few are willing to entertain such a notion.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye. Hello.
Não tem mais nada pra falar, né?
I'm interested in what you told me of yourself and your studies.
Ah, tem.
If you have time, I'd like to hear more.
You continue to surprise me. All right, let us talk. Preferably somewhere more
Depois
interesting than
dos
this.
últimos desapprove aí, precisou. Jogo. Jogo.
Why here?
Haven is familiar. It will always be important to you.
We talked about that already.
I sat beside you while you slept, studying the anchor.
I'm glad someone was watching over me.
You were a mystery. You still are. I ran every test I could imagine. Searched the Fade, yet found nothing. Cassandra suspected duplicity. She threatened to have me executed as an apostate if I didn't produce results.
Eita.
I would never have agreed to that.
You were in no position to argue. You were never going to wake up? How could you? A mortal sent physically through the Fade. I was frustrated, frightened. The spirits I might have consulted had been driven away by the breach. Although I wished to help, I had no faith in Cassandra, or she in me. I was ready to flee.
You stayed.
I did. I told myself, one more attempt to seal the rifts. I tried and failed. No ordinary magic would affect them. I watched the rifts expand and grow, resigned myself to flee, and then... It seems you hold the key to our salvation. You had sealed it with a gesture. And right then, I felt the whole world change.
For all our sakes, I'm pleased that you stuck around.
As am I. You have fractured rules of man and nature, and you will shatter more before you are done. To visit me here, and you not even a mage.
What do you mean?
Where do you think we were?
This isn't real.
That's a matter of debate. Probably best discussed after you wake up.
Tuf. Ah, vamos mudar um pouquinho. Eu tava parecendo uma carpa. Agora tá mais da hora. É bom mudar. Mas eu quero voltar lá e ver se ele tem mais alguma coisa pra falar com a gente. Entendeu? Muita coisa que eu quero falar com todo mundo. Tem muita operação que a gente precisa fazer.
I appreciate the warning, but you shouldn't have come yourself. What if the guild found out, or what's his name?
Are you worrying for me or for yourself?
A little of column A, a little of column B. I am the expendable one, after all.
Nossa.
Don't worry, I'll protect you. We'll just have to... Well, this is a surprise. You're the Inquisitor, right? Bianca Davry, at your service.
Bianca?
Your name is Bianca.
It's a common name. Half the girls in the Merchants Guild are named Bianca. The other half are named Helga. I lucked out.
I take it you're a friend of Varric's.
Who isn't a friend of Varric's? You have met him before, right?
Any friend of Varric's is welcome here.
Be careful saying things like that. Some of his friends you don't want to meet. Well, maybe you do. Who am I to judge?
Bianca's got a lead on where Corypheus got his red lyrium.
The site of Bartran's Folly, the tag Varric found, has been leaked. There's a Deep Roads entrance crawling with strange humans carting out red lyrium by the handful.
How do we know they're not using multiple entrances to get to the Tig?
Navigating the Deep Roads isn't like the surface. There's no accurate maps of the whole system, and there are cave-ins, darkspawn, lava floods. If you find a route that gets where you're going, you don't deviate. Trying to find another way could be deadly.
Who could have given away the Tig's location?
There were a few people who knew. Hirelings from the expedition, a couple of close friends.
How they found out isn't important. What matters is we know where they are now.
If it's such a secret, how do you know about it, Bianca?
I told her. Right after the expedition, I wrote and told Bianca what we found. I had artifacts that needed buyers, and she had more contacts that would pay for them. Plus, I owed her.
You can get there from Orlais. It's a long way to the free marches.
The deep roads are all connected. Or they used to be. Collapses and such. Some of them on purpose.
They really are roads. They spanned the Dwarven Empire, went to every corner of the continent, maybe further. In theory, you can get to any Tig using the deep roads, but in practice, there's a reason nobody uses them anymore.
We need to deal with this. As long as he has this source, Corypheus is that much more powerful.
I couldn't agree more.
I'll keep an eye on their operation. If you're interested in shutting it down, you've got my help. Try not to leave me waiting too long, Varric. I've got my own work to do, you know.
E aí, vamos ter missão secundária.
That's not going to be trouble at all. Let me know when you want to head to the entrance.
Ok. E aí? Você tem mais alguma coisa pra gente falar?
I've never done anything like that before. Do you regularly talk to people in dreams?
No. Consider that one more rule you have effortlessly broken in your rise to power. I had no idea that the anchor would allow you to dream with such focus. It is truly remarkable. But I am reasonably certain we are awake now. And if you wish to discuss anything, I would enjoy talking.
I'd like to hear more about what you saw in your exploration of the Fade.
I would be happy to share it with you.
Tell me about the old ruins you explored.
I found the ruin of Barandur, a lost Tevinter city buried deep beneath a dead and barren wasteland. Volcanic ash had sealed it tight. In one dark moment, every living creature in the city seared and smothered. They were statues in the ashes, like a mold made to recall the lost.
Tell me about a spirit you encountered.
I met a friendly spirit who observed the dreams of village girls as love first blossomed in their adolescence. With subtlety, she steered them all to village boys with gentle hearts, who would return their love with gentle kindness. The matchmaker, so I called her. That small village never knew its luck.
Tell me about the old memories you found in the Fade.
I saw a savage human horde go marching toward the battlefront. They sang a soldier's hymn to keep formation. Primal music shook the ground. These savage, unwashed warriors carried harmonies no chantry choirs mastered, though their cause was all but hopeless. They sang songs that made the spirits weep.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Bem, por enquanto é isso. Aí a gente pega e depois eu vou falar mais com ele. Very que a gente falou já bastante.
I've got a minute if you need something.
About that lead of yours, Varric.
Sure. The sooner we take care of it, the better.
Do you think this lead of hers is real?
Bianca's too much of a researcher to pass me information without verifying it first. But if you're asking whether she'd lie to us, maybe set us up, it's possible. Not likely, though. She risked the wrath of the guild coming in person. A message would have sufficed. Whatever she found in that entrance shook her up. That worries me.
What are your thoughts on the Inquisition?
If there's anybody out there who hasn't joined the Inquisition, they're hiding under a rock. Did you want to take over for Eldon? I think we might be able to conquer it just by looking east.
What do you think of Leliana's work?
She scares me. Mostly in a good way. At least I'm reasonably sure she's on our side.
What do you think of our general?
Find him a war or something. If he spends any more time in the yard drilling, Josephine will have him killed.
How do you think Josephine is handling the job of ambassador?
I'm starting to get the feeling that this is all a warm-up before she takes over Antiva in a bloodless coup.
Good to know.
Back to work, then.
Bem, eu acho que do pessoal daqui de dentro já conversou com Dorian, Liliana e o Solas. É o que importa. Varric, Josephine. Aí aqui o Paul tá aqui também. Opa, peraí. Aqui é só o negócio. Temos o Cole, temos a Cassandra que a gente já começou, mas eu vou dar uma olhada se não tem mais nada dela. Temos a Sarah que a gente quase não fala com ela, a gente quase não leva ela pra lugar nenhum. E o Touro de Ferro. Pra gente conversar também. E é claro, tem um... Ai, mesmo. Blackwall. Se não me engano, ele fica... Geralmente ele fica ali embaixo. Caramba. Ou comprar uma dessas seria da hora, mas não pra ele. Entendeu? Comprar uma dessa transformaria a Cassandra no de uma coisa só, entendeu? Pacto de certos favores, protocolos, cartas de código. Preciso ver o que é isso daqui. Poder e influência na Inquisição. Dá mais influência se a gente quiser. Ah, mas já tem bastante já. Comprar... Tem nenhum cavalo pra comprar. E aí, criatura?
Someone I knew once described adamant to me. Adamant is, and always will be, the Order, he said. A guardian on the edge of the abyss. The lone soul that stares into oblivion and doesn't waver. That's what Warden Commander Clarel tried to be. Well, they all tried to be. None of the Wardens we saw wavered. They gave their lives willingly. They died for us. And Corypheus twisted their sacrifice to make it his own.
We stopped him. We saved most of the Wardens.
But not all of them. And they died thinking they were doing something good. There's no one to blame but Corypheus. Even Clorel's intentions were righteous. Her desire to protect was so great it led her astray. It's not right. To want to do good, to be good, and have that turned against you.
Don't think of what went wrong. Think of their intentions, their sacrifice. Honor their selflessness.
Clorel made mistakes, but she was a great woman. And she died a great woman. It's not the armor or the trappings of the Order. It's not the joining. At the heart of it, all a Warden is a promise. To protect others, even at the cost of your own life.
Caramba.
This is just... it's something to keep their hands busy. I'm grateful you tracked me down when you did. As exciting as wandering the woodlands was, this is better. It's good to be part of something so important. Something that could change things.
The Grey Wardens are huge and important. You're part of that.
True, but without a blight on the horizon, everything the Wardens do feels like waiting. This, the Inquisition, is what matters now. And I'm grateful to be a part of it. You are who you choose to follow. Someone told me that once. Took me years to understand what he meant.
There's wisdom in that.
It was a chevalier who said those words to me. A powerful man, but never without honor. A true knight. We met as competitors in the Grand Tourney. He left me with that advice before we parted. Put aside his own ambitions to help me win the melee. I don't think I even thanked him.
What is this Grand Tourney?
You've never heard of it? The Grand Tourney of the Free Marches. It's a spectacle. Song, dance, wine, every amusement you can imagine. But the greatest part is the contest of arms. Prove yourself in the Grand Tourney, and you can make your fortune.
How did he help you?
There were 100 men on the field, each one fighting for himself. The knight and I had forged an alliance. It was just the two of us, and we took all comers. The goal, down as many opponents as possible. He always let me deliver the final blow.
He must have wanted something from you to help like that.
A pupil, a squire. Someone to teach and to mold. He saw my potential. When it was over, he offered to mentor me. To teach me to become a chevalier like him. And I, young and stupid, turned him down flat. I just won the melee at the Grand Tourney. I didn't need him. I should have gone with him. Perhaps things could have been different.
You're here now, a Grey Warden. It worked out.
I suppose it did, didn't it? But I'm older, hopefully wiser. And I think I've chosen the right person to walk with.
Whoa.
Heard you found something that had to do with Wardens. Would have liked to have seen it. I've been meaning to thank you. There are 100 things that need your attention. You didn't have to take the time to help me. And yet you did.
If the history you pursue benefits the Wardens, then it was worth it.
I've never been more certain of my decision to join you.
There will be opportunities for us to do even more in the future.
Tem mais coisa ainda pra pegar, tá?
Nothing right now. Perhaps in a bit.
Ó, tem mais 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tem mais 5 memórias de Guardiões pra gente pegar. Aí uma delas eu preciso das mãozinhas habilidosas pra entrar numa fortaleza. E tem lá naquele negócio do pântano. Vamos lá. Sei lá quem é você.
Commander Cullen did good work at Adamant. Breached those walls like he'd done it a dozen times. Nice job with the demons, by the way.
I'd like to know more about the Iron Bull.
The chief. Last time I met him, he saved my life. I never thought I'd work for Canary, but he grows on you. He's not like any commander I've ever worked for. That's for damn sure.
How's Iron Bull as a commander?
If you know what you're doing and hold up your end, he's easy. He doesn't accept any less. If he keeps us alive, he leads from the front, and if you've an idea that'll win the fight, he listens. I've seen bands whose captains had to prove they were swinging the biggest sword. Bull isn't like that. The charges might give him more lip than you'd expect, but every one of us would lay down our lives for the big ass.
How did a Tevinter soldier wind up in a Canary spy's mercenary company?
I wasn't a soldier at the time. I was in some trouble, trying to flee to Tevinter. A Tribune and his men caught me in a border town tavern. They meant to make an example of me. Bull killed them. Gave up his eye doing it. Patched me up and asked if I was looking for work. I've been putting up with his jokes ever since.
That's how he lost the eye.
Yes. The guards had me on the tavern floor when Bull came inside and yelled for them to stop. One of them saw trouble coming and figured he'd finish me off. The guard had a flare. Bull put himself between me and the blow. Big horned idiot. Didn't even know me.
Is it strange to work for Kunari?
He hasn't tried to convert us to the Qun, if that's what you're asking. The Bull's charges don't care who you light a candle for, so long as your shield stays up. If he hadn't told me he was Ben Hasrath, I'd have thought he'd left that life behind.
I didn't expect he'd tell you all that he was a spy.
Not the whole band, but those who've been around long enough to trust. He figures most of us would find out sooner or later, and it should come from him. Eyes to eye, he says. It's never messed up a job. He just writes letters back home. Lots of the boys write letters back home.
We'll talk later.
Ah, você tá aqui.
Inquisitor,
dele do lado.
come have a drink. To killing a high dragon like warriors of legend.
Deveria ter perguntado o que era isso antes.
I know, right? Put some chest on your chest. That little gurgle right before it spat fire. And that roar. What I wouldn't give to roar like that. The way the ground shook when it landed. The smell of the fires burning. Tarsidathan Halsam. You know, Kunari hold dragons sacred. Well, as much as we hold anything sacred. Here, your turn.
That thing you just said. You shouted it during the fight, too. What does it mean?
Oh, Tarsidathan Halsam. Closest translation would be, I will bring myself sexual pleasure later, while thinking about this with great respect.
You shouted that while it was breathing fire at us.
I know, right?
Ok.
Yes, the second cup's easier. Most of the nerves in your throat are dead after the first one. Atashi, the glorious ones. That's our word for them. Atashi.
Why do you think the Kunari think of dragons that way?
Well, you know how we have horns.
We kind of look more dragony than most people. Maybe it's that. But a few of the Ben Hasrath have this crazy old theory. See, the Tamasrans control who we mate with. They breed us for jobs like you'd breed dogs or horses. What if they mixed in some dragon a long time ago? Maybe drinking the blood, maybe magic, I don't know. But something in that dragon we killed spoke to me.
It's a shame we had to kill the dragon.
Damn good fight. Dragons are the embodiment of raw power. But it's all uncontrolled. Savage. So, they need to be destroyed. Taming the wild. Order out of chaos. Have another drink.
Vai lá.
Nice. To dragons.
As vidas ruins, a ordem, as boas lutas.
To finding the biggest, baddest things in the world and showing them that we're better.
Nossa, já tá doido já.
The funniest thing I've seen in years. That cat dancing around, hopping and pouncing like a fool. Made my day bright, it did.
Meu Deus,
Make
sai
a
de
note
perto de
what got
mim.
into the little rat catcher.
Criatura, você tem mais alguma coisa pra gente? Vamos lá. Todo mundo tem que descarregar tudo nesse episódio. Esse episódio é pra todo mundo. Falar tudo que vem à mente.
Come on! This is why the Qun doesn't like women fighting. I should have asked Cullen.
Nossa! Toma.
Perhaps you can take over.
Qunari training exercise to master your fear. I heard about the nightmare at Adamant. Sounded big.
Can you explain why I'm supposed to hit you with this stick?
Probably, if I try. It'd involve a lot of Qunari words, though. Just hit me with the stick, all right? I need to get over this demon crap.
All right.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Damn demon. Who's stuck in the fade, huh?
Bull, if you're scared of demons...
Less talking, more hitting.
Tá bom.
Piece of feed, piece of crap! And who killed you? That's right, Iron fucking Bull! I needed that. Thanks, boss.
Sente-se melhor?
And that works for you?
Yep.
All right then.
E eu fui transportado pra PQP de novo. Não tem mais nada pra gente falar. Ah, não, você tem coisa pra gente falar ainda. É muita coisa acumulada, eu tenho que descarregar tudo deles. Por isso que eu faço esses episódios. Especial.
Ah! I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait, are you blushing?
What would I have to blush about?
You tell me.
It's of no interest to you, I'm certain. It's a book.
I can see that.
It's one of Varric's tales. Swords and Shields. The latest chapter.
So you like to read? What's wrong with that?
It's frivolous. There are more important things for me to do.
That's just her favorite.
Nobody asked you, Tevinter.
I couldn't finish the last one you lent me. I actually feel dumber for having tried.
It's literature. Smutty literature. Whatever you do, don't tell Varric.
Ele ficaria contente. Deveria lê-lo.
Maybe I should read that book.
You? No!
Why not me?
You're the Inquisitor.
Oh, I see.
They're terrible. And magnificent. And this one ends in a cliffhanger. I know Varric is working on the next. He must be. You could ask him to finish it. Command him to... Pretend you don't know this about me.
Ela quer que ele termine o livro.
I understand if resources cannot be spared to help search for the missing Seekers, Inquisitor. Still,
Não, mas a gente vai
it could
encontrar.
involve a threat we are unaware of. There may be a use in looking.
Não, a gente vai encontrar.
That's enough for now.
Another time, then.
Calma. O que mais? Vamos voltar pra lá. A gente precisa descarregar tudo. Todo mundo tem que abrir a boca, todo mundo tem que falar. Vai, cadê a porta? Aqui. Todo mundo tem que falar tudo. Todo mundo tem que descarregar tudo que tá no coração.
Got some new tricks, huh? That flashy stuff, all fire and crap. Good way to throw off an enemy. They get all hung up with you being on fire and miss the part where you stab them in the kidney. If you folks can do tricks like that, you might be closer than we thought to making Gatlock.
Is what I'm doing that close to Gatlock?
No, sorry. I just meant in terms of complexity. Gatlock keeps better than the stuff you make. More reliable, too. You want a cannon to work? Reliable is key. Cannons that aren't tend to blow up in your face.
I heard Kunari guard the secret of making Gatlock pretty closely. Why is that?
It's like crossbows and longbows. Longbows are better, no contest. But it takes years to get good with one. Any idiot who can point will do damage with a crossbow. No offense to Varric or Bianca. Gatlock cannons might not be flashy or portable like mage fire, but we can make a lot of them. Any idiot following orders can fire one. Don't have to worry about them getting possessed by demons either.
Are there Kunari warriors who do what I do?
Nah. You know how you put that alchemical crap on your clothes so your skin doesn't catch fire? Imagine trying that when you're not wearing a shirt. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure you're careful and all, but I like my nipples uncauterized, thanks.
There was actually another matter I wanted to discuss.
What you got?
Can you tell me more about Saharan?
It was a damn ugly place. Only getting uglier when I left. Between the Fog Warriors, the Talva Shath, my people, and the Vince. You were lucky to go a day without blood. What do you want to know?
What are things like for the natives of Saharan?
I remember one guy. He made these things, fish wrapped in thin bread. Nice guy. Talk to him every morning. So, one time I'm asking about his bad back, and I see he's nervous, trying to tell me something with his eyes. Next thing I know, his assistants draw knives and come at my team. The rebels had forced him to poison my food.
And then?
I'd seen how nervous he was, so I hadn't eaten anything. A couple of my guys weren't so lucky. We killed the rebels. I lost 2 men to the poison, another to knife wounds. My friend who made the fish wraps died with a knife in his throat. Close quarters fight. He was caught in the middle. That is what things are like for the natives of Saharan.
What were the Fog Warriors like?
They were the worst of the rebels. They trained for stealth attacks. They made this fog. I never saw any mages, so I figured it was alchemy, not magic. They were almost invisible in it. I'd be on patrol in the market square. The fog would roll in, and before I knew it, half my squad dead without a sound.
It almost sounds like you admire them.
They didn't use poison. They didn't hurt civilians, and they were damn good fighters. You have to respect that. Plus, they hit the Vince as hard as they hit us. Hearing some terrified Magister scream, "My slaves! Where are my slaves?" in the fog always put a smile on my face.
Tell me about the Tal Vashoth.
When Qunari can't handle the fighting in Saharan or lose faith in the Qun, they go rogue. They flee into the wilderness and turn into bandits, attacking everyone. They're vicious, savage. You look at them and you can see why my people needed the Qun to stay civilized.
Isn't that what you did, though?
Hey, when I burned out, I didn't go rogue. I reported in and went where the Ben Hasrath sent me. I'm doing my job, serving the Qun out here. I'm not some bandit. I am nothing like them.
Tell me about the Tevinter people you fought.
The Vince sent forces to Saharan every autumn. Guess they didn't like the summer heat. We had some good fights on the beaches, standing in knee-high water foaming red with blood, ships on fire around us. The cities were worse. Free bit of advice. Don't let the Inquisition forces get suckered into urban combat.
Why do you hate Tevinter forces so much? What makes them so bad?
It's not their armies. It's their spies. They bloodied Saharan year-round, killing loyalists, supporting rebels. Alam had no city administrator. Nobody would accept the position. The last 4 who held it died inside a year. Trying to conquer a country is one thing. Making it so nobody can live there, that just screws everyone.
See you later, Bull.
Nice talking with you, boss.
Prontinho. Agora. Diário da Sarah e a Sarah aqui.
Heard what went on in that Fade thing. What you think went on. Can't even start to believe that business.
I think a lot of people are having trouble with what went on there.
People going on about visions and piss when real people are gone. Dead, probably. Stroud, yeah? Lost a serious moustache there. And in trade, a busted down bunch of wardens. And they're always weird. Usually, bad stuff happens first, so you're glad when the hero shows up. But wardens are the wrong way round. They're the good thing that means a bad thing is about to happen. Like in Denerim, when the Blight ended.
It must have been rough living through the Blight.
Someone yells Darkspawn, and then nothing happens for a long time. Then wardens show up and take your stuff. Or, you know, some prick noble takes your stuff because wardens may ask for it. Then you steal it back. So whatever. The first ones in line to screw everyone weren't Darkspawn. That's all I'm saying. Blackwall's nice, though. Different from the Adamant ones. Need more like him. You have a problem. That, over there, is a full tavern. But everyone's drinking alone. They're all up their own arses about the Inquisition. I can't have fun with everybody whinging. And they'll fall on their swords before Corypheus can push them. I'm thinking pranks. Set a few up, knock a few down. You in or not?
You have an odd idea of preparation. I need to keep them at their best.
What's best then, Mopey? Constantly ready for death to fall from the gaping hole up there. I know people. Pissed off and fired up is better than dreary bleary. Come on.
Lead the way.
What, really?
Really?
I knew you were different. Let's go. General uptight is gone. Have a search about. Find something to mess with and give your soldiers a laugh. What, the desk? Oh yes, center of the empire and all that. What to do, what to do.
Não menosprezaremos general. Ótimo, o que faremos?
All right, Sarah. What do you want to do?
Thing looks heavy. Don't want to move or break it. I got it. Easy one. Just a slip of something under here. There, won't notice much, but it's just that little bit wonky. He's so in control that'll piss him royally. I tell one of the soldiers and boom, the general seems like people. And since he works for you, you seem like people. Come on, next one. Right, little lady What, just the door? Where she greets every important idiot. Yes.
Well, Sarah, what do you have in mind?
Get a bucket.
Ela é muito doida.
Classic, yeah? 5 minutes of sloppy boss gets you weeks of happy kitchen staff. Except for the one who cleans it up, I suppose. But whatever. Next up. What's that? A locked... No, leave that. Not interested in her hidden things. Not for just a bit of fun. Maybe feed her messengers something gassy? No, bears don't pop. But they flap and...
Who is up there?
Go!
Muito doida.
That was fun. An inquisitor of the people, still remembering you're one of them. If all they got was the herald stuff, the serious bit, you'd start to sound pretty scary. That works, but not for long.
Whatever it takes. I'll start throwing pies if it kept people inspired.
Pies is so good, and Coryphanus would never do that. Good thing for you, innit? Because from the bottom, everyone up top sort of seems the same. Anyway, fun time, Inquisitor. You! Oh, frig. You did it!
Ooh. Ela é muito doida. Cadê?
Back, yeah? Always good.
Não. Volta. Conte-me sobre seus amigos.
You apparently have a lot of friends. Tell me about your network.
It's not mine, right? I mean, it is, but it's also everyone. Everyone who wants to shove it to nobles who hide behind gold and silk. And hats, I guess.
Is Red Jenny real? Or was she always just you and your friends?
Dunno.
Don't you care?
Not if it works. I mean, Red is scary because blood. And Jenny is... Look, nobody fears the bunch of people who do random stuff. And besides, it's easy. Nobles want a bogeyman because they need to believe normal people can't get at them. Numbers, right? It don't have to be so complicated.
Doesn't this mean people think you're guilty of more than you actually do?
Suppose. Does it matter?
Shouldn't it?
Important people kill over imagined insults. I've made more than enough real ones, so no. I don't suppose it does.
Are you just about pranks and revenge? Or is there more to it?
Well, it's a weave, right? I grease a ballroom, so a wyvern chasing Git has to hunt sprained. Strangely, handmaids leave his vault open. His heirlooms pay off someone else. Maybe clean streets in Kirkwall so someone gets something else. Pish, pish, pish. A lot of people eventually get help or a laugh. Or maybe someone dead, if they deserve it.
glad I met you before someone decided what I deserved.
You're no hateful ass so far. I'd just get you with a pie or something. Anyway, assassin's a bard's job, innit? No fun, that lot. They might plonk a noble, right? But only to raise another. Plus, I'm shy at singing.
Where are the people you promised?
If I knew, they wouldn't be much use. That's sort of the point. Look, unless your baddies are rocks or trees, they have people they use. Cooks, squires, wipers. Yeah, I know, wipers, right? You better believe the one with wipers deserve it, right in the... Well, anyway. The little people will be there when you need them, in a million little ways.
So lots of little contributions add up in the background, like snowflakes that snap a branch.
What? Sure. Like snow, I guess. Anyway, it just works, most of the time. Friend of a friend and little hints. Mind you, you still have to be smart. Don't bet your life unless you're into that. To be clear, I'm not into that.
I can play along if it works for you.
You have a choice. Hail the Inquisition.
We'll talk another time.
It's all good, innit?
Nothing. Agora só falta acho que mais uma pessoa pra gente dar já mais um passe no que tá acontecendo. E é o Cole. Ele tá aqui.
No. But you like demons. I enjoy the company of spirits, yes, which is part of why I do not abuse them with bindings. It isn't abuse if I ask. Not always true. Also, I do not practice blood magic, which renders this entire conversation academic. He won't bind me. He's a mage and he likes demons, but he won't help.
Why would you want Solus to bind you?
So I'm safe. If Solus won't do the ritual to bind me, someone else could. Will. Like the Warden mages. And then... I'm not me anymore. Walls around what I want. Blocking, bleeding, making me a monster.
Calma, como assim?
Isn't it extreme for Solus to bind you? What if that takes away the part of you that makes you... you?
Helping makes me who I am. I help the hurting. That is what I do. All I do. Am. Me. And if binding you erases your mind? Your consciousness? You wouldn't make me hurt innocent people. I don't want to hurt innocent people again.
We'll find a way to keep you safe without binding you, Cole.
I have a suggestion, if Cole is ready to listen. I recall stories of amulets used by Raveni seers to protect spirits they summoned from rival mages. A spirit, wearing an amulet of the Unbound, was immune to blood magic and binding. It should protect Cole as well. The resources of the Inquisition could be used to find such a talisman. Good. They will not take me.
Coitado. Consiga o amuleto para Cole. Vai dar pra gente conseguir então. Bem, a gente já fez uma boa de uma bateria de... Como fala? Uma boa de uma bateria de quests.
Inquisitor.
A gente já falou com eles. Barry, que você é missão, né? Cassandra quer um livro.
Cassandra is waiting for the next issue
Ainda
of
tem mais
Swords and
coisas.
Shields. I must have heard that wrong. It sounded like you just said that Cassandra read my books.
Ela é uma grande fã.
She's a pretty big fan, in fact.
Are we talking about the same Cassandra? Tall, grumpy seeker, like stabbing things? Wait, did you say the romance serial? Huh. She'll be waiting for a while then. I haven't finished it and wasn't planning to. That book is easily the worst I've ever written. The last issue barely sold enough to pay for the ink.
Well, Cassandra seems to be hooked on it.
And I honestly thought a hole in the sky was the weirdest thing that could happen. So, you want me to finish writing the latest issue of my worst serial for Cassandra? Oh, that's such a terrible idea. I have to do it. On one condition. I get to be there when you give her the book.
You've got a deal.
I'll get to work then. You know, the fact that the book is terrible just makes it more worthwhile somehow.
Ok. Bem, bora que a gente tem algumas coisinhas pra fazer. A gente já deu a nossa conversa com todo mundo. A gente já fez as iterações que a gente precisava. Agora, vamos fazer um pouquinho de quest secundária. Vamos fazer a quest do pessoal, que eu preciso fazer a quest pessoal. Tem a quest do Cole, tem a quest da Cassandra, que eu preciso ver os recursos agora aqui, se eu conseguir encontrar. Caramba, tem muita coisa. Nossa, muita coisa pra ver. Verdade do desafio, Lago Celestine, recompensa, ganhamos mais jogo perigoso. 2 horas pra fazer. Vive de volta, criaturas sombrias. 13 minutos. Mas eu ainda não quero fazer ainda não. Eu quero ver o do pessoal. Um batalhão para Sarah. Recompensa recebida. Aliança, colocando tudo em andamento. Não cronometrada. Aqui a gente tem Bravos anões das mãos do vetor com cronometrada também. Nome do nosso inimigo. Uma amiga Canary.
Let's see what we have.
Vamos lá. Julgamento. Escola dos Magos. O que mais? Investigue o couro do caçador. Nova operação desbloqueada. Continue a investigação. Apoio de Navarra. Um presente para Bianca. Investigue as estranhas marcas de giz. Missão cronometrada. Deixa eu ir pra Ferden. Nossa, Ferden tem muita coisa. Consigo um amuleto pra Cole. Missão cronometrada. Pode ir lá, minha filha.
Inquisitor.
Que a gente espera. 1 hora, vamos esperar. Caraca, tem muita coisa. Sério. 0. Operação de exploração. Busca por escritor por encomenda. Templários vermelhos na costa. Eu acho que eu vou fazer essas pequenas operações de exploração. E fazer as operações focadas no pessoal. Entendeu? Bora que bora. E depois dessa rodada de relacionamentos e conversas, nós agora temos algumas missões para fazer, principalmente as missões relacionadas ao círculo, que é para deixar eles todos aprovados, todos bonitinhos, todos os nossos amigos. E é o que a gente vai começar uma nova rodada de missões secundárias. E essa rodada vai ser grande porque eu vou tentar fazer todas as missões relacionadas ao círculo interno e todas as missões relacionadas às novas áreas antes da gente avançar para as missões principais. Porque eu quero deixar já tudo nivelado bonitinho para quando a gente avançar a missão principal, já vir novas missões e aí a gente passa o rodo de novo nessas novas missões. Já deixa tudo em dia, para não deixar nada atrasado. Só que isso só nos próximos episódios, eu espero vocês lá. Então se gostaram, deixa aquele joinha que é só clicar, coloca um comentário falando o que você achou, compartilha com os amigos que é muito importante. Se não for inscrito no canal, já aproveita, se inscreve e ativa o sininho para receber notificação dos próximos vídeos. Muito obrigado e até o próximo!